We'll see how Virginia handles that here in Charlottesville.
Only the exhibition phase for the Cavaliers thus far, and set to jump it for Virginia is Camryn Taylor, our featured player. The tip will be won by Laney Allen, and initially and eventually into the hands of UVA. First possession belongs to the Cavaliers. It will be Taylor taking the initial three look. Rims off, and here's a rebound underneath. Hawks up the floor with it for the first time. That's going to fall. Ends up hitting the back of the rim and rolling down for Shante Lynch to get things started for the Hawks. And a look at the Virginia starting five as Taylor takes another shot here. Bit of a surprise perhaps, but maybe not as much when you consider the limited bodies for Virginia. When you look at this starting lineup, though, already right away we see some that will be key moving forward, Coach.
Yeah, a couple of freshmen. Kymora Johnson, a local product from St. Anne's Belfield, from Stab, and Odessa Noyan from not so close in Sweden.
No, and you talk about Johnson, so much excitement surrounding her related to the local product's arrival here. You wonder how will these new faces, how will these young players handle the moment? Handling the moment well so far, this Hawks team from Eastern Shore. How about this? Another bucket knocked down. That's Gilliam getting involved.
Yeah, William and Mary transfer, recruited originally by Maryland Eastern Shore, chose to go to William and Mary, but ended up with Coach Batchelor down the road.
Here's Thomas. Her shot will rim out. You talk about Gilliam. She is the lone non-freshman newcomer on the Hawks side of things. Just the three, as we said, to fill out the roster, and she the transfer, as Mac told you, from William and Mary. Shot taken from beyond the arc for Johnson. And you've been introduced to Gilliam. Saw Lynch a bit ago. There's the rest of the starting five for Maryland Eastern Shore. Down the right side of the lane, and that's going to come off. It goes out of the hands of Taylor. Stays with the Hawks. And a bucket knocked down by Laney Allen. And timeout called for after a hot start, a 6-0 run to begin things for Maryland Eastern Shore. It's the Hawks out of the gate hot here in Charlottesville. Ended up turning down a postseason opportunity at the end of the year last year because of lack of bodies. They're still without Mir McLean. That's not all. Sam Brunell not a part of it tonight. Caden Lawson they are without. Paris Clark they are without. And when you see those names pop up on the screen of key returners, it's not just pieces missing, Coach. It's some of the key pieces missing for Virginia.
Yeah, all those people capable of starting and big contributors. And we'll show you later on the percentages that were coming back but aren't necessarily with them. Coach Mox called that quick timeout. She did not like the fact that Maryland Eastern Shore already has 2 baskets on second shots.
Well, 3 of the first 6 falling for the Hawks, and a 6-0 advantage to begin things. Team responding out of the timeout. It's Taylor who has the first bucket of the year for Virginia.
A lot's going to fall on Taylor while some of these players are getting healthy.
5th year out of the state of Illinois, one of the many transfers from Marquette. Second team All-ACC performer, getting Virginia in the scorebook, and this lost out of bounds, so a good start out of the timeout for UVA. You know, foul trouble, a big question with Taylor. You wonder also when the surrounding cast comes back completely and she's not carrying perhaps as much of the load for UVA, but she is the feature player to watch tonight. Really her story and what you get from the youngster Johnson, how she handles the moment, the transition to the next level of basketball. There is a great deal of excitement in this building surrounding number 21, who takes the shot on cue, back of the iron, but they are really looking for major things from her this year at the start of her career.
And we got to see her at shoot around, does not play or act like a freshman. Very confident young lady, in addition to be uber talented.
One of 3 key local products on this roster, something we'll get into before the night is done. Taylor trying to go up with it, but she gets tangled up with the defender, and it's going to head the other way. Well, local products will certainly energize your fan base. And Coach Mox talking about how the likes of Johnson, and of course, we talked about Brunell, and she'll be back at some point. McGhee also on the roster, a local product. She talked about how much they understand what it means to wear the Virginia uniform, maybe more so than those who transfer in.
Yeah, and Virginia's got a rich tradition in women's basketball. You can see by the banners in the rafters here.
Johnson, McGhee, Nguyen, who got the nod here. You talked about it. The native of Sweden, given the start in this one tonight. That trio bringing that freshman group to the forefront for Coach Mox.
Yeah, and even though Nguyen's just a freshman, she's had a lot of international basketball experience. She's not a true freshman in that sense.
Here's Brown trying to go underneath, and she'll draw the foul in doing so. Jillian Brown, one of the transfers from Northwestern, now in the junior portion of her career out of the state of Michigan. First whistle against the Hawks, and change is coming, including Zamara Haynes coming in. Well, you wondered when would she arrive? 18 points off the bench in the opener. She's the preseason All-MEAC player. You've got to locate number 11 throughout the night.
Yeah, interesting talk to Coach Batchelor. You know, it's not often a first-team all-conference player comes off the bench, but he says she flows into the game better after watching it just a little bit. And I don't know whose idea it was, but she certainly has accepted it and embraced it.
Leading returning scorer with 11.1 per contest a year ago for the talented guard, who now has it out top for the Hawks. Top 10 in the MEAC in scoring on the year. And here's her first look off the bench, but the initial possession going to be disrupted with a whistle. Our officials tonight, Denise Brooks, Tony Patillo, and Leah Laney, the trio.
They're going to have their hands full because Maryland Eastern Shore likes to attack off the dribble. Virginia's going to have to do a good job of staying between their man and the basket.
Down to Sewell, and now Thomas passes it off to Mahogany Lester. It's kicked far side. That's going to be well short of the rim. And scrambling for possession underneath is Cam Taylor.
She and Sewell got tied up down there.
As it is in the end going to be Virginia basketball.
You know, it's really hard for Coach Mox. You know, she's got a different group at practice every day. The combinations were going to be hard to put together without the injuries, and this has made her job even that much harder.
The contact catches your attention, but this is going to be a traveling violation just prior to that. So the turnover for Virginia.
Nice defensive play by Ashanti Lynch out of Hookerton, North Carolina.
One more look at the contact on the backside of the Virginia travel. Yata Vaughn being brought into the basketball game. And we showed you the information on McGhee just a moment ago. Number 4 recruit, also one of those battling through some injuries as well. Now into the contest for Virginia here as well.
Yeah, 4-star player from just down the road. Louisa went to IMG Academy down in Florida.
Well, and you, I know, were impressed a season ago. We talked about it during shoot-around today with Yata Vaughn at times for Virginia.
So mature, you know. Of course, she played in a great league in D.C., went to Bishop McNamara, ended up second on the team in assists in limited playing time last year. Very mature.
Had a great exhibition. She was one of a couple with 18 points for Virginia in the exhibition. Goes to work with it here. 10 to shoot for Virginia. Slicing down the lane was Alexia Smith, and this off the side. Just
really like her game. She's good off the dribble, a very good defender. See it right there where she stops the penetration and contests the shot.
Rebound to Taylor, run out to Brown, who will be contacted by Lynch. As the Cavaliers out of the timeout, battling back from what was a 6-0 deficit with 2 buckets of their own.
Chance to tie it right here with Jillian Brown on the line.
And now to the line to that end.
She's a top 50 recruit out of high school, signing with Northwestern.
More substitutions coming in, including Jayla Bannerman, a sophomore out of the state of Maryland, in-state product for the Hawks. Well, sizing up this transfer group, obviously Brown, Lauterbach, Clark, and what they bring, Coach.
Yeah, and you know, out of good programs, they were well coached and bring that experience. Let those freshmen come along. Those freshmen always need a little bit of seasoning, although you know, Johnson and Nguyen jumped right into the starting lineup in their opening night.
Yeah, one way to get going. And Both these teams trying to do just that offensively here in this first period of action. Down the right side, and handling the block is Brown.
Yeah, what did Coach Mock say? She's an outstanding one-on-one defender. You see it right there.
Yeah, the junior on cue doing nice work for UVA. Has a sister, Olivia, older sister at Valparaiso. So college basketball family affair. This rims out into the grasp of McGhee.
Well, Eastern Shore has struggled shooting the basketball, but Coach Batchelor really believes in this team and wants them to keep taking those threes and driving the ball to the basket.
Well, the three coming from Virginia this time, but it won't fall.
Taylor's really worked on her perimeter game. Hadn't gotten them to go down yet, but she's shooting them with confidence.
To Brown. Finds some open floor space, just short on the shot.
Good hustle.
Eventually handed off to Zamara Haynes one more time.
Ariana Sewell has really played hard on both ends. She's been around the basketball every possession.
Let's see what the Philly native can do. To Lester, and there it is, that outside shot. Mahogany Lester, Virginia Beach native, able to drop it home.
She only took 1 3 a year ago. They'll change up in defense, little zone action. They change defense a lot. They love to press, and they'll change it from zone into man-to-man, just like they did right there.
Virginia trying to find some space in the interior. Dumped off to Taylor. Goes toward the basket with force. Follows her shot and then draws the contact as a foul will be on Sewell.
You can imagine with Taylor and Mira McLean, they are both just relentless rebounders, and they were a big part of why Coach Mox's group started 12-0 last year.
Jillian Brown coming off, being greeted by her teammates before Taylor goes to work at the line. Will not connect on her first free throw. Just a couple of points to this point for Taylor. Well, what a women's volleyball match we have for you. On Friday, 10th-ranked Georgia Tech hosting 6th-ranked Pittsburgh at O'Keefe Gym. Coverage beginning at 5 Eastern for you on the ACC network and the ESPN app.
ACC is so good and so many different sports.
Well, you can see them almost all right now, right? Volleyball going on, soccer's finishing up, basketball getting started, football certainly in full swing. So this is your time of year if you want to see it all.
And guys like you calling all of them.
Just bouncing around, figuring out which one is it tonight. It's always a lot of fun in the month of November.
Good block by Yate Vaughn.
Actually pulled down by Nguyen. And on the other end, tries to make it count and will. Nguyen on both ends of the floor, making a difference for Virginia.
Coach Mock said again, another 3-level threat. You saw it right there.
Well, and I go back to your point about the experience. Yes, it's going to show up as a first year on the roster, but so much international experience, and you can see it once again as she comes away with the takeaway. Pauly out front. Too strong on the layup. And away to the Hawks. But a couple of sequences there that really showed you how maybe beyond her years on the roster, Nguyen is going to be able to play for Virginia, Coach.
Exactly, and physically ready to play, unlike a lot of freshmen.
Johnson pulls down this rebound, looks up the floor. Works it inside. McGhee, a couple of bodies on her as a pair of the Hawks are able to knock that away.
Good vision by Johnson that time. In traffic, made a nice little bounce pass with the left hand.
How about the difficulty in scoring all of a sudden for both these teams? One of the last 11 tries to change that, but the shot won't go down for Haynes. And on the other end for UVA, 1 of 9 the trend in a 10-8 basketball game with just under 90 seconds to play in the opening period.
Well, both these coaches are defensive-minded, and you're seeing it come to fruition on the court.
Just another look at that three just a moment ago from Nguyen.
Again, Johnson with the penetration, draws the defense, and Nguyen wide open in transition on the trail.
Cavaliers to this point, 2 of 15 and just 1 of 7 from three-point land. The start for Virginia. But you said it, some of that has to be attributed to the emphasis on defense for both these teams. And that'll be lost out of bounds. McGhee to inbound for UVA.
And a lot of times this time of year, defense is ahead of offense. Just across the board in college basketball.
Easy to forget if you've been watching a lot of basketball the last few days. This is the first game of the year for these on the floor right now. At the opener for Virginia, welcoming in the Hawks out of the MEAC of Maryland Eastern Shore. What do you want to see in this final minute, Coach? 1 minute even left to play in the opening period.
Well, both teams need to take care of the basketball, and they need to be a little cleaner in their execution. Like that.
Boy, beautiful inbound and the finish. Just as you would hope if you're Virginia. Camryn Taylor lays it in.
Special situations are a big part of who wins basketball games.
Late bucket in the period, knocked down for Bannerman.
Yeah, the transfer from Maryland. He's a really good shooter. Led the team last year in percentage.
So Virginia having withstood what was the 6-0 run to begin things from the Hawks. And powering ahead, and there is Johnson getting involved.
Yeah, missed a couple threes, but that time flashed to the free throw line and knocked down that little 15-footer. See if that gets her going on the offensive end.
Yeah, the hometown product, and what they hope will be the first of many. Loud ovations from the Virginia faithful for number 21. She'll look up the floor, gets this toward McGhee. It's off. Pauly was there for the rebound, but time will expire in the first period. Virginia surges from behind in the opening period to carry the scrimmage. They had 8 players when all was said and done at the end of the year. It's the reason, even though they qualified for a postseason berth, they had to say, no thanks, we don't have enough bodies to play.
How do you coach with 8 players? You can't scrimmage, you can't do anything 5-on-5.
And interesting that the carryover is to some degree there with the injuries. I mean, you've got 4 key pieces not in the lineup tonight. You talked about McLean and what a big part of everything she has been. But you're talking about injuries starting to stack up a little bit again here. The real question for Virginia is when will they have everyone healthy? 3 ball. Well, if you get contributions from new faces like Kymora Johnson, it's going to help ease the pain until everyone returns.
And putting 2 point guards on the floor, I think, is really smart. Vaughn ran the offense, recognized the zone, dribble penetrated, kicked to Johnson in the corner, and now Johnson has that confidence after making that 15-footer earlier.
Grew up a Virginia fan. Johnson, at one point, a ball girl here. John Paul Jones Arena, and now working her way onto the floor as a player for the Cavaliers. Comes right back her direction, drew some contact, but no foul call.
Wow.
And it will be Hawks basketball. Floater that will not go down, but Vaughn is there to gather it up before it works out of bounds. A little bit too strong, although the contact there as McGhee tried to attack the basket. Well, here's the 3 ball again.
Here's that ball screen, draw the defense, nobody in the zone to pick up Johnson in the corner. Vaughn has kind of settled the Cavaliers down offensively.
Well, and that is not a storyline that plays itself out every day when you talk about the ability, Coach, to play where you would like. You know, sometimes you play where you are offered, but to grow up a fan of a team, be able to come in, participate on that floor in those colors where you were, you know, a ball girl at one time.
Storybook. Storybook stuff.
It really is something you do not see every day. And the fans in behind it. When we talked with Coach Mox prior to the game today, she said, yes, the local talent that is on this roster, one of the reasons that they have been in a position to sense the energy around this program from the community. Long 3. This one going to be knocked down.
You know, you just never know in this game. She attempted 1 3 last year. She's made 2 here in the first 12 minutes of the second game of the year.
Leicester already having a good start to the day and beginning to heat up perhaps with another 3 as the youngster.
And again, Coach Mox says, okay, we'll take the ball handling responsibilities away from you, let you get over there, concentrate on scoring, and look how relaxed she is.
Just finding a way to calm a young player, allow a young player to kind of wade into the career here, because it is the first night under the bright lights with the emphasis and so much of it on the future. And a nice job answering on the other end of the floor.
Yeah, Maya Thomas really good out of Deep Creek High School, Chesapeake, Virginia, at 15 against Georgetown on Monday night.
Back out top, Johnson says, why not? Everything else is falling. That will as well. Another 3-ball for Kymora Johnson.
Little heat check right there, partner.
The 2-time Virginia High School Player of the Year, showing you why. And that's going to be an offensive call, so Virginia will have a chance to build on it. Oh, what a sequence this has been for the youngest of the Who's.
Catch and shoot, got good range, hand in her face, no problem.
Here since June, now finding a way to translate it into exactly what she had hoped in the early stages of the month of November. Virginia first year, taking the reins to the tune of a 24-17 lead for the Cavs.
Yeah, already 11 points, a couple assists, a couple of rebounds.
Vaughn down the left side. And here comes another foul call. This is going to be Lester, who is going to be whistled for the foul. That's going to be her first personal. 3 on the team, just the first on Lester.
On a 73% free throw shooter a year ago.
Off to the right on the first. Well, Saturday morning, the ACC Huddle crew going to kick off the day at 11 Eastern. It'll be a 60-minute pregame show leading into BC, Virginia Tech. That's at noon. They'll also have halftime shows, pre- and post-game shows throughout the day. And you'll want to stick around after everything is said and done on the ACC Network for a complete wrap-up, interviews with players and coaches, all that a part of ACC Huddle this coming Saturday. Stays on this end of the floor as Smith will inbound. And Vaughn bringing that out top. Johnson again. Everything was falling. Why not try it one more time? Here's a turnaround in the lane that will not fall for Taylor. It'll stay with Virginia.
Taylor doing a nice job on the offensive glass. She hadn't been finishing those shots through the contact, but you know she's capable. Leading returning scorer, like you mentioned in the open.
And scored in double figures in 21 games.
75 offensive rebounds
for Virginia a season ago, and that alongside the scoring. You're exactly right, Coach. Missing everything on this effort was Smith, and it'll be out of bounds eventually to the Hawks. Now this is a team picked to finish in the 4th spot in the MEAC. 10-win season a year ago, 5 wins in the MEAC. But you know, this is a Hawks team that has made some noise in the tournament the last few years. In fact, they had a near upset of Howard that would have propelled them forward in the semifinal round. And they've been able in the first round of the tournament to pull away, pull off an upset or two along the way of late. And with all the experience that is now back for the Hawks, this is a team that Coach Batchelor believes is really able to take the next step.
Yeah, this many returnees, you know he's excited about what this team is going to do in league play.
Has over 200 wins to his credit at the helm of the program leader in coaching victories. You saw him on your screen just a moment ago. Putting together a nice staff for Maryland Eastern Shore. Casey Monroe Gaskins, who is a Hawks Hall of Famer, a part of the staff, as well as Amber Elliott, who has joined the staff as an assistant this year, trying to use all the experience of this group as Thomas adds to the total now and pulls them a little closer to UVA at 24-19.
Talking about Deep Creek High School. Had a pretty good player there by the name of Alonzo Mourning.
That's a familiar name, isn't it?
Yeah.
In the paint, another whistle as trying to put it back up was Jillian Brown.
There you see why she had those 75 offensive rebounds, Cam Taylor, going after the basketball a year ago.
And there is the nearly 2-decade head coach of the Hawks. It's going to send Taylor to the line. Cam Taylor off to a 2 of 7 start from the field and is 1 of 2 thus far from the free throw line.
Already with 6 rebounds here midway through the second period.
And she will knock down the first of these. 6 points for Taylor. Of course, Johnson leading the way after knocking down those 3 trays with 11, and that is the leading number on both sides thus far.
A little surprised that Virginia hadn't dominated on the backboard a little bit more. Rebounds basically even, 20-19.
Three taken. Haynes can't get it to fall.
Haynes had 18 on Monday night coming off the bench against Georgetown.
Yeah, mention that, and that seems to be the role, as you talked about, Coach, that she is going to embrace. You know, not always that your leading returning scorer, that your preseason all-conference performer will be an off-the-bench performer. She's been a good one for the Hawks.
7 from long range, shoots it comfortably, got really good strength, therefore she's got really good range. 11 points, 15 minutes into her Virginia career.
The McDonald's High School All-American off to a 4 of 10 start from the floor, 3 of 7 from beyond the arc. But those 3 coming back to back to back, Coach, and really a snapshot of what Virginia fans are hoping to see from a very familiar face for a long time to come.
And you know she's just going to get better and better. Speaking of better and better, Maryland Eastern Shore is actually outscoring Virginia from the field, but Virginia's getting to the free throw line. 12 free throws attempted to none. And also Virginia has made 4 threes where Maryland Eastern Shore only has the 1.
This will help also. A block by Vaughn. Possession will stay with Maryland Eastern Shore.
Yeah, let's get the shortest play on the floor, block shot.
Why not? Remember, and there it is, another takeaway for UVA. Remember, this Cavs team trailed 6-0 when the first timeout was taken by Coach Mox. Vaughn tried to translate it into something offensive on the other end. It was not to be. Slowed up by Gilliam, who opts to put it in the hands of Haynes. Takes it herself and tickles the twine with a 3-ball.
Yeah.
There's a look at what Zamora Haynes does provide.
Yeah, and that's why she's first team all MEAC. You can't let her have any space.
Talk about hometown products as at home as if it was Philly there with a shot like that. You talked about it, nearly 20 in her opener. Virginia does have an answer on the other end as Jillian Brown tries a 3. She gets it to go.
The veteran from Northwestern, very comfortable in her role coming in here.
Was a top 50 recruit. You could talk so much about what she brings to the table defensively. How about this? There is what she brings to the table defensively. Looked ahead to Johnson, but the pass a little bit too strong.
Oh, an outstanding block and just a little bit anxious. What good job not fouling right there, getting the ball and immediately looking ahead in transition, just a little too strong on the pass.
I had that extra boost that the successful trip down the floor provided with the 3.
Critical time for Maryland Eastern Shore. They've got to keep scoring to hang in this game. Virginia's starting to find a little rhythm on the offensive end.
Got to come back to Brown again. She weaves through and gives nice touch to a 2-point basket.
Oh, she's bringing a lot to the table on both ends of the floor.
Immediate shot that was not to be. Here comes Virginia again. Oh, too strong on the pass this time from Johnson as she tried to find Taylor slicing. Well, how about what we've seen in the last few moments from Brown?
Yeah, this is a really nice play. Reading the defense, a little bit of a sliver there. I'm going with the left hand.
Started the sequence with the 3, had the solid impact on the defensive end of the floor, and there showed you her ability to drive to the hoop.
Yeah, the Cavaliers with 8 transition points. And we mentioned the free throw differential, and then they're a little bit better from the 3-point line, too. And that's why they have a 9-point lead. And Maryland Eastern Shore, this is a dangerous time right here. They could lose their position in this game in these final 3 minutes, and Virginia would love to go to the halftime with some momentum.
I got to go back to your point just a moment ago. You know, Virginia has shot 28% from the field. 9 of 32, yet they find themselves out front and are beginning to build somewhat of a sizable lead based upon the peripherals right now, statistically.
And some of that starting with defense, defensive rebounds, and some block shots.
2.5 remaining in the opening half. And a shot taken by Thomas again. Comes back into the hands of Brown.
We got numbers. See what kind of decision they make.
Kick out.
A good one.
Oh, everywhere but down for Yonta Vaughn.
That did. That was inside the rim for quite a while, wasn't it?
Virginia gets the whistle again, and this is, as you said, Coach, what Virginia has done so well. Worked its way to the charity stripe in this first half.
Yeah, it was 4-on-3 right there. Johnson found the open person in her fellow backcourt mate, Yonta Vaughn. Now we'll see what the transfer from Kansas State can do from the free throw line. She's a good shooter.
Just a first foul on Maya Thomas. And coming back in is Bannerman for the Hawks. Well, a reminder for you as well that week 11 of ACC football going to be something else. It starts at noon. BC Virginia Tech, that's in Chestnut Hill. And then Pitt squares off against Syracuse, a game being played at Yankee Stadium. And cap the day with Duke taking on North Carolina in that regional rivalry. That's at 8 p.m. All 3 games available on the ESPN app as well as the ACC network. You can watch them anywhere. Boy, football really, the championship picture starting to take shape a little bit around the ACC and beyond.
Yeah, it really is. Florida State has maintained. There have been some other comers and goers, so to speak. It's going to be interesting to see who plays in Charlotte for the championship.
Major Saturday coming up. You won't want to miss it on the ACC network. Punched out, and it looked as if that may be a fast break chance for Vaughn. Looks like Johnson will have it in the end. And that is knocked away. It'll stay with Virginia. Ruled a clean block as Johnson tried to take it up.
Get a little rugby breakout in the middle of this thing.
Well, you talk about other sports that are contact sports, right?
And you call them all.
And you see it unfold right here before our very eyes.
Yeah, I'm a one-trick pony. I can only do this.
Yeah, but it's
maybe NASCAR. Maybe a little NASCAR.
But it's all day, every day, right? And one of the best. Mac McCarthy alongside for this one. Long and storied coaching career. Now staying connected to the game. What have you seen as you break down what we've witnessed in this first half, closing in on the final couple of minutes here? What's the opening stanza look like from your perspective for UVA and, of course, for the Hawks of Maryland Eastern Shore?
Well, for Virginia, you're seeing glimpses of the talent and the pieces that they have. But you're also seeing the disjointed effort just because of missing pieces. They don't have their regular rotations, or what will probably be their regular rotations going forward. Maryland Eastern Shore, despite not shooting the ball well, has hung in there. But Virginia's defense is starting to be the difference in the game.
Well, and one of the things Coach Mox started to talk about, and we've seen glimpses of it here, she said we're going to be able to play faster this year because we're so much deeper. Now, it may take a little bit of time to see that in full because of the injuries, but there's an excitement around the way this team, the pace with which this team will also be able to play.
Good job by Vaughn resetting, calling a set play here. Double high ball screen. High-low look.
And there's a 3 from McGhee to complete it with just over a minute to play. Virginia knocking down its 6th three-point basket of the first half.
McGhee with the first of what I'm sure will be many threes in her career here in her home, near her hometown.
Time to work with. Still 12 to shoot for the Hawks.
Well, good job not allowing dribble penetration.
A little bit of an open window to take a shot for Haynes, but it rims off. And they're going to call a carry here. It'll go right back to the Hawks. Hand went just under the basketball for McGhee.
Coach Mox may disagree with that. I've never won one of those arguments. I don't know that Coach Fox was going to either.
I won't ask you how many you tried.
A lot.
Just able to get it inbounds, and they'll send it all the way out top to Thomas again. Shot clock now off for Maryland Eastern Shore.
Virginia shows zone on those baseline out of bounds, but then they transition into man-to-man. They want to stop dribble penetration right here, make them shoot something over you.
Spot right in the heart of the lane, and Thomas found the back of the rim.
They've got time.
Johnson trying to cap the half, and she'll miss everything, but did knock down a handful of threes.
Some people had 18, some people had 19. He's been there a long time.
He's been there a while, and you said it, for a coach that's been there as long as Coach Batchelor, the combination of then bringing back so many of the returners and only needing 3 new players, one of the wrinkles that exists with this program, a program picked to finish 4th in the MEAC this year.
But got a first-place vote.
Believing they can exceed expectations, and you're right, that first-place vote is an evidence of that. Sometimes experience can help you do so. A turnaround for Taylor on Virginia's opening possession of the half. It's not to be.
And Virginia went to Taylor on the opening possession of the game, went back to her this time inside, had a good look at it.
Taylor had 7 in that first half. She was 2 of 7 from the floor for Virginia.
Alexia Smith pushing the ball down, kind of a combo guard, but she can play anywhere. So strong, great defender.
You made a great point. We see the basketball in Johnson's hands there, going to be lost into the grasp of Lynch. Here she comes, and Virginia had a couple of bodies on her. The foul will be called. You made a great point a moment ago when we were discussing it even off air, and you kind of alluded to it on air in that first half. It's when they took the ball out of the hands of Johnson, she was able to focus in on scoring. That highlight package we saw a moment ago, allowing her to really focus in on just her shot at one point in that first half.
Yeah, and playing the 2 point guards did a couple things. It kept Maryland Eastern Shore from penetrating so much because you had 2 quick little defensive guards out there, and it also made them a little bit better ball handling team. And like you said, it moved Johnson off the ball to where she could relax and really start feeling her oats scoring the basketball.
That was a second personal on Alexia Smith, and both of the free throws will go down for Lynch, who has 4 points.
It's a nice play by Lynch, attacking the rim like that in transition. Haven't been a lot of easy shots for them against this Virginia defense.
To a halt, but able to find some help to continue. It was into Noyen's grasp.
Nice job by the Hawks here.
Just 3 to shoot now. Virginia will from the corner, and a rebound looked like it was coming for Noyen, but the foul is called instead on Mahogany Lester. You know, Noyen mixing it up right in the middle of that, Coach, and we talked so much in the highlight package about Johnson. Noyen, another of those, getting the nod in the starting unit tonight, expected to make major contributions for Virginia. What have you thought of her play so far?
I think she's played really well. She made a nice play right there. Not a big thing, but she knew that ball was coming off the backside and held her position. Virginia has the basketball thanks to her.
Noyen, the first year out of Sweden. And Johnson over to contest this pass, and it'll work out. Going to go back on this end of the floor.
Deflected it off Thomas, the point guard. Virginia hangs on to the basketball. A little time of possession here.
7 turnovers apiece in that first half, and now 1 apiece for these 2 teams in the early stages of this third quarter. Johnson to Noyen, and on the turnaround, she's going to be whistled for the offensive foul.
That was a really nice set play on the sideline out of bounds. They got it to Noyen on the opposite elbow. She reverse pivots and goes hard with the right hand, but really good defense to take the charge on the international player.
Yeah, it was the work with the left arm that made the difference there as she tried to push away to create some space. And it's the Hawks up the floor with it now. 10 of 40 on the night, 25% for the Hawks. Virginia, you know, overall shooting right about the same, 10 of 41, but Virginia's work at the line and how many of those have been from beyond the arc, the difference for UVA. And here's a chance to run for the Cavaliers, and that's turned aside by Ashanti Lynch. Good defense fighting off the numbers.
Yeah, they'll get that chemistry and know who they can throw it to, when to throw it to them. Spacing wasn't quite right on that 2-on-1 right there. Five block shots for the Cavaliers so far.
Flying in there to come away with the rebound, trying to put it back up a second chance with Smith. Somehow keeps it alive, this possession. 11 to shoot as Johnson does. That will end up missing everything and belong to Maryland Eastern Shore. It's not just the amount of returners back. Everybody that was of consequence is back for the Hawks, Coach. They have all the key contributors from a season ago, needing to bring in, as we said, just the 3 new players. And you called how close they were in that battle against Georgetown. He talked at the start of the day, Coach Fred Batchelor, about how he seems to be able to peak at the right time in recent years, and that's all he asks of this team this go-round.
Yeah, well, I think they'll peak a little earlier this time with the experience that they have, but they've got a chance to have a good year.
Shots like this will help.
Maya Thomas.
Bucket from Thomas that's going to end up pulling them a little closer. You look up all of a sudden, single digits as the Hawks battle back at Virginia.
Virginia's had good looks here in the second half, but again, struggling to get that ball in the basket.
10 to shoot for Virginia again. Shot clock now down to 5. Fans encouraging the Cavaliers to get rolling. Taylor will take a shot that hits the rim just prior to the expiration of the shot clock, but the rebound to the Hawks. Slowed up by Thomas. 6 tonight to lead all scorers on the Maryland Eastern Shore side of things.
The Hawks hanging around.
There's the grad transfer from William and Mary. Has it taken away. Dish to Smith, who lays it home.
And like last year's team with Coach Mock, so much good that happened to him started on the defensive end. Really a big point of emphasis for her.
For all the talk about young players, there's one of the seniors, Minnesota transfer. Lauterbach going to be assessed the traveling violation before she can put this up. And here's that defense to offense you were talking about.
There's Vaughn in the gap, does a nice job. And watch the spacing this time. A little bit more room, creates the wide open layup. Really good job by 2 returning guards that fit the theme that you've been harping on.
There it is. Maryland Eastern Shore looking for Haynes maybe to get going here. Just the 3 points and just the 1 made basket for Haynes thus far. You talked about what she did off the bench in that first matchup, and she certainly comes in as the highly decorated leader of this squad. Trying to really get her jump started here in the third quarter.
Yeah, she gets to the free throw line, does not shoot the ball well from long range, but runs the team. 84 assists preseason. Like we said, first team all MEAC.
And here she tries to drive toward the baseline. Saw a chance to put that in the hands of Laney Allen, but it is lost out of bounds to Virginia.
Interesting that Lauterbach's getting a lot of time here early in the third quarter.
K-State transfer, ability to block the basketball, the size she brings to the table, the rebounding ability that will be key for Virginia. Everybody standing by right now watching Yanta Vaughn drop this home.
Yeah, that was very nice. Little 2-man game, ball screen by Taylor.
Quick down the lane is Haynes on the other end. We talked about her trying to get it going, but charged with the offensive foul. It'll be Virginia basketball when you return to JPJ.
Such an incredible player. She's a great defender. She takes charges. She's a relentless rebounder. She means so much to this basketball team. absolutely one of the best athletes in the ACC, which is full of great athletes.
UConn transfer, injured her knee in January. Still uncertain exactly when she will be back. You see how much Virginia misses when she is not on the floor, and then you factor in off-season surgeries for Brunel. Of course, Lawson battling through that as well. And now tonight, 4 players unable to go, including McClain. Yes, the depth is going to be there, and yes, there will be a full 14 for Virginia, as we've referenced a couple of times. But this is going to be, safe to say, Vaughn and the likes just knocking down that 3 will try to hold serve until she returns. But this is going to be a different team when McClain is back.
Well, fortunately for Coach Mock, she has done that really good job in recruiting and has some depth this time. Last year with only 11 players, a few went out, and she was in real trouble. We missed the, we were talking while the Vaughn 3 right here, and of course she had 18 in the exhibition game, coming off a ball screen again, very comfortable. I was so impressed with her last year, her maturity level, and of course she played at a very high level in a great high school league in Washington, D.C.
Well, and mentioned it when she hit that 3 just a moment ago, that Vaughn is among those trying to hold serve until you get everyone back, including McClain. In your estimation, what does Virginia have to do until they are full song, particularly when they hit the start of the ACC slate? You don't know if she'll be back prior even to the new year. What do the Cavaliers have in place that will serve them well between here and there?
Well, first, they've got good players. There are a lot of answers. The big question for Coach Mox is what combinations work? Which ones can play together? And how much are you willing to sacrifice on one end or the other? You don't want to sacrifice at all, but which ones complement each other to the point where they can be the most efficient groups on the floor?
She'll have some time to figure that out in the early part of the season. A night like this helping answer a few of those questions, certainly with the way the newcomers, particularly the freshmen, has performed. Boy, tough night thus far in many ways. And to the line this time for Haynes, and she's unable to get those free throws to go. She is the spark that makes this team go, and they really are going to need her jump started, are the Hawks.
Yeah, if they're going to make a run in this game, Haynes has to be a part of that. Cam Taylor on the other end, a little aggressive, picking up a charge right here. Anytime you get that flipper out there, you get that chicken wing out there and hit them, the refs make that call every time.
Able to step in, take a charge for Maryland Eastern Shore. Leslie Thomas doing nice work. This kick to the corner for a 3. It will not fall for Thomas.
Good job by Thomas. Getting that long rebound. It got knocked out of there.
Trying to find a window to shoot. Was not to be. And it'll be Virginia's.
Leslie Thomas with that offensive rebound. Couldn't get it back in. The shooting woes continue for Coach Batchelor's squad.
Leslie Thomas, nice work on both ends of the floor. Ended up stepping in for that player control foul. And then, as you said it, the rebound on the other end of the floor. Now, he's got so many combinations to try and work in, try to get involved as well.
She scored through that contact.
Battling underneath to try and put something up as Taylor. She will go to the line.
She gets a lot of attention down there. When you're a talented player, people are going to pay attention and body up when they can down low.
Virginia from the free throw line, 9 of 14. In the contest.
Bannerman coming back in for Maryland Eastern Shore. She's one of the better shooters on the team.
I'm just going to mention too, Coach, that Taylor responsible for 3 of those and Brown for 4 on the work from the stripe for Virginia. And Taylor's total will be lifted by 1. Well, this week on ACC PM, Mark Packer, Taylor Tannenbaum. You'll have it from Mark's Basement Studio in Charlotte tomorrow, and then Friday from Chapel Hill. And that's 4 to 7 Eastern right here on the ACC Network as well as on the ESPN app.
Mark Packer, it's a piece of work, isn't he?
Can get the job done from anywhere these days, right?
He's been doing it a long time, too.
Coming at you from the basement as a part of this week's coverage of the ACC.
Camryn Taylor takes a little rest. She's only 2 for 10, but she's almost got a double-double already.
Well, and there is Gilliam now, and they really want to get Gilliam going as well. We could talk so much about how important it is for Haynes to get rolling, but Gilliam, the Norfolk native, who started her career, William and Mary, 20 contests over there. Backcourt experience she brings important. You know, and she was a player coach as she and the Hawks go on the run here, try to build upon that last trip down the floor, and will do so. And if they can get Gilliam and then Haynes going back-to-back, it'll serve this team well. Gilliam, a player that was recruited by Fred Batchelor out of high school, ended up going to William and Mary instead, but he said, I started looking at her numbers, some of the things going on over there, and I said, you know what? What I saw from her in high school would be a much better fit in our system. When he saw her in the portal, it ended up being a tremendous fit for this squad, and they expect great things out of her as they think their system fits her game in an even greater way than the William and Mary system did.
Yeah, a talented offensive player, and didn't get that much chance to play at William and Mary, but Coach Batchelor kind of stayed in touch through the year. They actually played each other several times, William and Mary and Maryland Eastern Shore.
Probably the last time Maryland Eastern Shore had a transfer that they expect to impact the program as much as they hope she will this year was Jordan Smith in 17-18, who came over from Towson. Here's a three. That's off the rim for Bannerman. But Shaniqua Gilliam, along with Zamara Haynes, the two most recent baskets for a team trying to chip away at this Virginia lead. Cavaliers with it now, and Brown sees nobody in her face, takes a deep three, but that's off the front of the rim. Just under 90 remaining in the third quarter. These teams still shooting at a clip of 25 and 26% from the field, respectively. Virginia better from beyond the arc than overall, and those 7 threes have made a major difference for the Hoos tonight. On the run, McGhee able to get things in order and lay this home. She'll look for a little more to finish this sequence.
That's a perfect picture of a big athletic wing running the floor, the nice pass ahead. Beautiful play right there through the contact.
Third foul picked up on Mahogany Lester as a result of this, and McGhee to try to complete the three-point play at the line.
You can see why Coach Mox and her staff are so excited about Olivia McGhee.
Well, they talked about how in the scrimmages you saw the combination of Johnson and McGhee, two of the locals and two of the fresh faces, as they were working together up and down the floor. And you really want to get this fan base into it, you have those two local products working together on a given night. That certainly ignites the fan base and serves as a springboard for Virginia as well, particularly when, as you said, they're trying to put together the right combinations early in this season. And speaking of, here is Johnson coming up the floor with it to McGhee, and on cue, they work together for the three ball as it's knocked down by McGhee from within and from without. McGhee getting the job done for Virginia.
How many times in the next 4 years are those two freshmen going to combine for a basket?
And there it is. You heard just how the fan base reacted for the two local players. This will quiet things momentarily.
Bannerman, we talked about how she can really shoot the ball. The transfer from Maryland.
As Bannerman hits her first 3 of the night. She has 5 for the Hawks. Shot clock off as Maryland Eastern Shore brings it up. Turnaround and contact coming from Cam Taylor. Now, on the other end of the floor, McGhee went all the way down the tunnel and is back and giving him one more chance to cheer.
A Bo Jackson moment, wasn't it?
Well, it disappeared for a little while, out of view, but is back and showing no signs of anything to worry about here.
Yeah, I think she must have run into a patron. She was checking on her. Hopefully everybody's okay.
Well, and you can hear some of the chatter going on just behind us. They say, what's going on here? You know, playing so well, given a first good glance, and now all of a sudden she disappears. But back to the delight of Hoos fans as the charity stripe chants for Allen. We'll see her knock down both free throws. Coming into the game is Ariana Sewell once more for the Hawks, as Allen will just as quickly as she made those 2 free throws depart. 6 seconds to work with for Virginia. And McGhee, after her trip around the building, is set to inbound the basketball.
Virginia's got a couple handlers out there who can push this ball. Plenty of time to get to the other end.
She's still got to get acquainted with the place, right? Here's Johnson. 2 left to shoot, and she'll heave it up just ahead of the horn. Nothing further for Virginia, having scored 50 to this juncture. How about McGhee, Coach?
It's a whole lot better.
ACC spirits at Notre Dame before here, and of course the Virginia native. William Monroe product, and she was on that region title team, the first region title since '87. And you know what made that special? Her mom, Katie, on that '87 region title team there in the high school ranks as Sam Brunel followed those footsteps and has returned home. And she's going to be big time for Virginia, one would think, at some point along the way. Boy, heavy collision on the other end of the floor. Both players, including Alexia Smith for Virginia, able to continue.
And Johnson. Yeah, there's because, oh, yeah, inadvertent heel to the head. Johnson turned it over going the other way. I thought she had the drop off to Pauly. Chose to take it herself and then charged for another turnover for the Cavs.
You know, one other piece of the roster, Coach, when you think about it, is a couple of departures that they dealt with as well. Miller, Valladay, and what so many of these new faces alongside the returning pieces are going to have to do to kind of fill the shoes. And you said it really is going to come down to combinations, and you have to. The visuals of Brunel are a reminder. You have to have everybody healthy just to see how those roles are going to shake out. It'll come in due time for UVA.
Yeah, it's going to be a moving target, but again, the good thing, there are lots of answers, lots of talent, and you got to give Maryland Eastern Shore credit. They're still stepping in, taking charges, working hard on the offensive end, despite the ball not going into the basket on a regular basis.
Just the kind of battle you would expect from an experienced team, and the reaction inside JPJ speaking volumes as Cam Taylor went to the deck. But it is going to be Hawks basketball, and here's Haynes at the point. A little trouble trying to get that in the interior initially, but a hustle play by Haynes keeps the possession alive.
Yeah, Haynes isn't having a great day, 2 for 14, but she's still playing hard.
Will that open the floodgates? She's able to get one to fall off the back of the rim, and it turns into another moment as all of a sudden a surge for Fred Batchelor's team here.
And they're getting more confidence. The bench is engaged.
Well, and then one more point, Coach. They would have it back to single digits. Says something. Here is the sequence for Maryland Eastern Shore. Closing up on Virginia a bit, 4th period.
Some hustle right there. Haynes gets the ball, penetrates a little bit. Shot's not going in. Drive it to the hole. Smart play by the veteran.
Haynes now quietly working her way towards 7 points in the game. And with the basketball, trying to cut it to single digits. It's back in Haynes' hands now. Still an eternity left at 8-11 and ticking downward to play.
We said she has to be a part of any comeback for the Hawks.
Follows her own shot. Can't get the inside bucket to go either. And Taylor forces the tie-up as she gets a hand on it alongside of Thomas there, Leslie Thomas. Possession arrow is going to keep it with Maryland Eastern Shore.
This little run has been because of turnovers. Virginia now with 18 turnovers, and 5 of them have been offensive fouls.
And remember, it was 7 apiece for these two teams at the half when you talk turnovers. Stepping inside, ending up finding the iron instead was Bannerman. So a couple of chances there for the Hawks to get it to single digits. It was not to be. Here's McGhee. Works around a defender. And how about the reverse for McGhee there?
He is not playing like a freshman.
McGhee, a strong night for a first year. Kymora Johnson, a strong night for a first year. They are stepping up in the absence of some of Virginia's key contributors due to injury. And that's a beauty for Maryland Eastern Shore when they needed an answer. The Hawks get another basket. This one from Sewell. You said Sewell during the break you were talking about. We've called her name over and over again tonight, and here she is again in a major spot for the crew from Maryland Eastern Shore.
Call her name again right now, but for a foul.
Yeah, wrong direction here all of a sudden.
This is really nice. Heads up, awareness of where the defenders were, and the left hand. And there's the penetration that Coach Babsler said. If we don't penetrate and create some easy baskets, we won't have a chance. That was a good play for Maryland Eastern Shore.
Well, that foul, by the way, that you referenced, the 4th on Sewell. So just as she was making some contributions, going to be sidelined for a moment with those 4 fouls. And it will be Hawks basketball with 7:06 to play.
And a chance to cut it to single digits.
Once again, unsuccessful when this presented itself out of the break. And again, we'll say it now without the services of Sewell after picking up that 4th. Also a key storyline here in the 4th.
And I don't know that she'll be able to stay over there very long. She's one that's done a good job against Cam Taylor down low, putting her body on her.
Haynes hands that off to Thomas. Thomas trying to work it further into the interior. Jillian Brown was waiting, and she'll be fouled. Working down the left side of the lane.
Getting out in transition like that off of the turnover, you get a little higher percentage. That time the foul came before they could get a shot up. But Virginia with the baseline out of bounds.
After the steal by Brown, she is fouled by Allen, and Allen now having picked up a 4th, and guess who's coming back to replace her, Coach?
The aforementioned Sewell.
So those two playing with 4. Sewell, the one on the floor in that scenario now.
Yeah, and right away, battling down low, beating and banging with Cam Taylor.
Comes inside, Taylor turns around, and there it is. Not just the bucket, but perhaps somewhat of a game-changing moment with it, as that's the 5th.
That's the 5th foul. Taylor finally gets the ball to go through contact. Watch this post up. Deep, down low, rolls off of the pressure. She feels where the defense was and lays it up.
Well, they were fortunate there. It ended up being, it looked like the reach, perhaps, that was whistled there. So a moment to catch your breath, as it appeared as she turned around on Sewell that may very well be it. She is able to continue as the foul goes against Haynes instead. No real consequence there. That's her first.
Bigger part of that play, though, was Cam Taylor finally scoring through that contact.
You got it. Sewell does remain on the floor and has it in her hands now. Well, and how about that? Did not perhaps take anything off her game after coming back with the 4 fouls. She's still mixing it up in there. And Johnson is going to be whistled for the foul on the Virginia side of things here. Comes into Sewell. She'll take a 3. Too strong. Back inside. Taylor able to work around everybody. There it is again.
Split the double team. That's the Cam Taylor that we have seen have huge nights in ACC play.
What you expected when you highlighted Cam Taylor in the open, the one major returner for Virginia in the lineup tonight. Snapshots of just what she can be.
And Haynes answers on the other end. Big-time players make big-time shots.
When it looked like Virginia was going to keep Eastern Shore at arm's length, they're back close.
The post up, splits the double team, feels where the defense is, and finishes it through the contact. Cam Taylor going to play a key role at some point tonight, and tried to get her going early, but as the game got tight, she stepped up big.
She had 18. She was the other player with 18 points alongside Yanta Vaughn in the scrimmage for Virginia. So in the exhibition, 18. Here when it matters on opening night, 14 to lead everybody, and she's going to try to make it 16 right now, and will. Another basket for Cam Taylor.
Against 3 defenders that time. 2 wasn't enough. Apparently 3's not either.
The 8 rebounds, as you referenced, seems to be trending toward a double-double with 5 and change still to play here. And remember, the time at which she put together the inside impact right when the Hawks had closed it down and had a chance to make it single digits. She stepped up just when it looked like Virginia needed to find a way to place the visitors at arm's length.
And kept that ball alive.
Last down the floor this time around, and there is the combo. You saw Taylor, and here's Vaughn. They were the leaders at the high water mark in the exhibition. They work together, and Taylor's going to draw the foul as she attacks the basket this time. This one against Lester. Mahogany Lester picking up her 4th foul. She's the 3rd. Allen and Sewell, who are on the bench, both with 4 fouls as well.
If the Hawks can get the ball in the basket, you're going to see them press here toward the end of the game. Try to speed this thing up and get as many possessions and possibly force some more turnovers. We mentioned Virginia with 18 so far. That is about 8 or 9 more than Coach Mox would like to be seeing on that stat sheet.
Taylor, who from the free throw line tonight has knocked down 8 of 9 to give Virginia a 61-45 advantage. Taken away by Johnson. And she will draw contact. That's Lynch, who is going to be whistled for what is her 3rd personal foul. So you got Lynch having picked up her 3rd. You've got a trio of players with 4, foul trouble becoming an issue for Maryland Eastern Shore.
Yeah, Virginia's been to that free throw line 20 times.
Now, having made 15 of those 20, and only, think on this, 6 free throws shot in the contest for the visitors out of the MEAC.
Really important, along with second chance points. And then points in the paint. Virginia, as you would expect, has dominated.
Well, don't miss the volleyball matchup coming up at 5 Eastern on Friday. Ranked showdown between Pitt and Georgia Tech. It's coming your way on the ACC network. You can also access it with the ESPN app. In the heart of that Virginia defense, rolled home by Haynes. She is quietly now, well, not quietly, but I guess with a late surge, you might say, better description, Coach, worked her way into double figures for Maryland Eastern Shore.
Yeah, you can see the talent. She is going to be a force in the league.
Inside to Taylor, has taken the 4th period over for Virginia. And now having eclipsed that point total from the exhibition. Give her 20. Matching the jersey number and still fighting for every possession for UVA.
Taylor did a great job of keeping that ball alive, but couldn't throw it to a teammate as she flew out of bounds.
Has pulled down the 9th rebound alongside those 20 points.
I like her chances at the double-double, don't you?
Well, 3:32 left for her to figure out how to bring down one more board. Say they're good. Down the lane it goes. A little too strong from Maya Thomas. And Jillian Brown, numbers for Virginia. 22 for Cam Taylor. And timeout on the floor.
Really a good decision by Brown. 3-on-1, spacing was just right. Laid it off to Taylor so she could catch it in stride and lay it off the glass.
Well, Cam Taylor's 4th period in many ways. And good from the free throw line tonight. Excellent in the rebounding department. Also has an assist to go with it. Just a complete effort, certainly, in the last period, the one that matters for Cam Taylor, Coach.
Yeah, and struggled early, but really has played the way you thought. There was a really nice play, feeling the defense, spinning off, this time splitting the double team and finishing at the rim. And here again, knowing where the defense is, soft touch, run the floor, and gets rewarded. If your big runs the floor, you got to get him the ball.
She scored in double figures 21 times last season, and she'll start the year doing just that for Virginia. See where her overall numbers were by average. 22 points.
What she's also done tonight, she has stayed out of foul trouble. She does have 3, but she hadn't had to go to the bench because of fouls.
At a time where, again, limited number of bodies for Virginia that are available, that she has to carry so much of the lifting in the interior, and has done so, as you said, without that becoming an issue. This foul is going to be against McGhee. Into the contest for UVA. Adesinoyen, the freshman from Sweden, is back.
Taylor gets a nice hand.
Taylor is going to receive a solid reception as she heads to the bench. Ellen, it may be lost when the ultimate final score is put into effect here, that when Cam Taylor did her best work in this game, Maryland Eastern Shore was on the verge of making this real interesting, a lot more interesting than folks inside JPJ wanted it to be.
Yeah, they had made it definitely interesting. They were hanging around, and Cam Taylor said, "I got this."
Inbound to Johnson. Plenty of pressure from the Hawks, as you would expect. And a drive to the hoop. A thing of beauty for Jillian Brown.
She has shown a lot of different skills here tonight. Going to be a valuable member of this team.
She becomes the 4th Cavalier in double figures. Taylor's 22, you know about. Johnson with 13, McGhee with 12, and now Brown with her 11. The 4th to double digits for UVA.
A couple of freshmen, a couple of veterans.
And a true shot knocked down by Bannerman. Out to Gillian. Gillian, who's going to provide some versatility this year. She won't be able to do much here, as that was anticipated by Brown, who picks up the block. Out front to Johnson, and she'll have it blocked on the other end of the floor. Now here is Jillian Brown.
Coach Mox was raving about the fact that she could guard anybody on the floor and was just a tenacious defender. We've seen a bunch of that here tonight.
Brown with 3 blocks, and Virginia as a team tallying 8 of them.
And how about the freshmen here on their opening night? First games of their career.
Well, the bright lights, a different story, and you know, there has to be that extra adrenaline when you think about, particularly as we talked about early in the game for Johnson, that she's playing in colors she's hoped to wear all of her life. And then to live up to the billing, to embrace the hype, and to excel in the moment, it speaks to more than the athletic ability. It speaks to the character of some of the newcomers for UVA. And a valiant effort, speaking of Johnson, to try and save it, but that will touch the sideline and be Hawks basketball. That doesn't always play out according to the script when you have those hometown chances, but it has for Johnson tonight.
Not at all. And you know, she had the nerves early on, but settled down and got into the flow of the game. Still learning what she can and can't do and what she needs to do for this team to be successful.
15 points for her, alongside 7 rebounds of her own, a couple of assists.
We've certainly seen her upside, haven't we?
And again, the ceiling so very high for the 2-time Virginia Player of the Year in high school. Here's McGhee. Back out to Vaughn. Inside a minute 20 now remaining. Virginia withstood the early 6-0 run from the Hawks to start the game. They withstood the 4th quarter surge from Maryland Eastern Shore, and are going to win this one, it would appear, going away, as it's laid home by Noyen, another of the freshmen.
Yeah, she's been good too. Hadn't played quite as many minutes as the other two, but she has shown some ability for sure.
Well, plenty to build on for Coach Mox, and you know the cavalry's coming. The reinforcements are on the way from an injury standpoint, and already so much she has to be pleased with when you look at the individual performers tonight.
Oh, this is a wonderful game film because she can show some things that went right, and she can show a bunch that went wrong. She will have their full attention before their next time out.
Well, they shot well enough in the fourth quarter. They're right around 35% now. You know, the numbers were sub 30 on both sides for the longest time. And so some of those numbers beginning to climb up a bit, but you said it, there's going to be a variety to pull from when they dissect this game. But the one thing that Virginia will no doubt take away is so many different contributors. And here's the latest of those contributions from the Northwestern transfer, Jillian Brown, with another basket. She'll have a little more with a trip to the line coming.
That was just a beautiful play right there. Little change of speed, and then the wherewithal to know where the defenders were, get it up on the glass, and take the foul.
Brown with 14 after she connects on the and one opportunity. And just for good measure, Brown, Taylor, of course, the leading scorer with 22, and then the combo of Johnson and McGhee, the youngsters. That group all in double figures for Virginia tonight.
And Brown with a couple years. You know, sometimes you get those transfers in the portal that just have the one season. She'll be here for a little while.
Brings this up, and with the shot clock off, can back it out. And they put it in the hands of Kymora Johnson, and the former McDonald's All-American, the two-time Virginia High School Player of the Year, one of the highly anticipated players in some time because of her hometown status to work into this gym. Coming off a solid opening night, will hold on to it as Virginia puts the finishing touches on a 76-52 win over the Hawks of Maryland Eastern Shore.
Yeah, and we saw highlights of what Virginia can be, and Coach Mox is learning a lot about who can be on the floor together. You know, it's so hard in practice when you don't have everybody out there, so you can evaluate what it's going to be like going forward. But there certainly were some bright spots. Cam Taylor being one, and the freshman being a couple more, and of course Jillian Brown with the really good finish.
Does in with 4 in double figures. Cam Taylor leading the way with her 22 points in her fourth quarter emergence, really making sure Virginia would be able to hang on to win this one by the final of 76-52. That'll do it for us in Charlottesville. For my broadcast partner, Matt McCarthy, everybody working hard for you in Charlottesville and beyond. Jason Patterson saying thanks for joining us. A reminder, you can watch this game, all games, on the ESPN family of networks by simply downloading the ESPN app. Virginia opens the year with a win